Yes, dear Tahmina, I am ready.
Perfect, dear Zoha. We
Just,
are
just
live.
confirming that. Thank you so much, Tahmina, and I hope that my voice is clear to all of you. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone from wherever you are joining in. Thank you so much for being here today, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you from my side and from Women Ascension as well. My name is Zoha Hussain, and I'm honored to moderate this session today. And for those of you who don't know me, I am head at the Community Outreach Department at Women Ascension, and it is truly a pleasure for me to be part of this conversation, which is to guide you all for this very important topic. So, before we begin and move to the topic, I would like to briefly introduce the movement behind this global platform for all of you who are new and for all of you who do not know about the Women Ascension. So, Women Ascension is a purpose driven global initiative grounded in the belief that empowered women transform communities, industries, and futures. With a presence in 134 countries and 10 multidisciplinary departments, our organization, Women Ascension, provides a safe, inclusive, and a visionary space for women to lead, to learn, and to lift others. And through our flagship 1 Million Leadership Program 2030, we aim to empower 1 million women, youth leaders, change makers with ethical, inclusive, and trauma informed leadership skills aligned with UN SDGs. And this program does not promise instant resource success, but it offers something deep, the tools, the courage, and wisdom to serve with integrity and impact. So it is not just that you all are here today for simple learning. It is something that will create an impact not in just your life but in your community as well. So thank you so much. And today's session basically focused on the conflict analysis and resolution. And it is a topic that is very crucial in our world today because conflict touches families, workplaces, communities, and nations, and understanding how to analyze its root causes help us approach resolution with empathy, clarity, and effectiveness. And in a world shaped by displacement, political instability, and social tensions, conflict resolution becomes not just a tool but a responsibility. And through this session, we hope to gain tools, perspectives that help us create safer, more understanding, and more resilient communities. And because at Women Ascension, like mentorship is not just guidance, it is transformation through shared experiences. And these sessions allow us to learn from leaders who have lived their realities we seek to understand, giving us the confidence and clarity to build peaceful and inclusive communities. So, like to speak on this topic, we are very honored to welcome our speaker, Ms. Anna. She's an educator, a volunteer, and advocate for displaced communities. And Ms. Anna is originally from Ukraine, currently residing in Greece. She has spent over 3 years supporting Ukrainian women and children displaced by war, helping them adopt a new reality. And she also teaches Greek to refugees, contributes to the Ukrainian Education Hub, and guides families through school involvement, cultural adoption, and state processes. Her work goes beyond language instructions. She helps refugees rebuild a sense of security, belonging, and resilience. And as a mother, as a patriot, Miss Anna is committed to helping displaced families feel safe, feel informed, and empowered. So her voice is an important one in discussing on adoption, conflict, and community healing. So thank you so much, Miss Anna, for joining us. And with a great respect, I now invite you to take the floor and guide us through today's session on conflict analysis and resolution. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much for this great introduction and warm welcome to everyone who came today. Today we discuss a very important topic. It's conflict, and conflict is everywhere in our life. And in order to live and to resolve with this issue, we need to understand a bit better what is a conflict and what we need to do in order to navigate through it and to resolve it. So the conflict actually is everywhere in our life. It starts with a very early age, disputes and disagreements between kids. Then we can have it, as adults, as group of adults, and even as nations. So conflict is everywhere around us. And what is it? What is the conflict? Actually, it's an argument, it's a disagreement, we can give different names to it, but practically it's something very natural, which is appearing between people when we have different opinions, different point of view to different issues, different needs, different expectations, different or limited resources, and different identities, values. So we have one point of view, the other person or people have a different one, and this is enough to start a conflict. But practically, conflict is not always negative. In our mind, it is negative, but practically, it is not. And today we will see, how to use conflict, how to understand the conflict, and how to resolve it. I will discuss general ideas and also bring some examples so we can see it practically what's going on. So there are several levels of conflict. We can see a conflict as a small scale when we have some disputes between kids, between parents, between friends, between people in relationship. Yeah. So it's almost always it's a personal disagreement on some point or on some problem. We can have a medium scale conflict, which is for a larger group, for example, community, at work in different places. And of course, large scale, it's a really big and always violent thing, which is national conflicts, regional conflicts, it's war, it's violence, it's really bad situations. So let's see the examples of a small scale conflict. For example, very often we have parent-child disagreement. We have household disagreements between husband and wife, mothers, fathers, elder people who are arguing with younger one. We can have, let's say, small community disagreements. For example, people go to get a resource like small distant village, they need water. They go to a resource of water. They can have some disputes there, who is the first there, who will take this quantity, different other things. So small conflicts as an example, let me see here. We can see them in a more specific thing. For example, no, sorry. Let's come here. We have a family, yeah, and mother says to a child, I want you to take the trash out. And the child doesn't do it. And the time passes and nothing happens. And mother gets angry and we have a really good conflict here. What's going on here? Mother wants the work to be done now. Child does not do this work on time when mother wants. So we have different expectations of these two people. Mother wants to thing to be done immediately. Child did not consider it to be done this way. If these people discuss the problem, and mother will say, I need you to do this job now, or this should be done by that moment. Child will have an understanding and consider what he needs to do and when he needs to do. And if there is uh, work which is not done by the moment when mother said it need to be completed, there could be consequences, like either they will have further disagreement or maybe even punishment. Or if the child, for example, cannot do the job now because he is occupied with another task and the task is not completed by the moment the trash should be taken out, then they can discuss with his mother that, I was busy, I didn't have time to do, but now when I complete it, I will go and do it. In this way, they will have the conflict which will be resolved. It will be clear what's going on and nobody will be upset. Or, for example, you do something and you have different points of view to the topic. And one party says we need to do this way, and the other party says no, we need to do it this way. If they sit and discuss the problem, one and the other one could see the perspective of each side, and possibly the first one will agree with the second one that their point of view were better, were more productive, were more interesting, and they can agree together and go on with one of the plans which had each of them had in mind, but they will agree on one without a conflict. So practically, conflict brings us to the point where we can use it as a creative thing and as a point of understanding each other, because uh, we can avoid it in this way if we discuss things, if we agree on something that is good for both sides. And also we start to understand each other better because we see the point of view of the other person and we realize that, yeah, maybe we need to do that way. Maybe we didn't think about this option. Maybe what we thought is really wrong and we can do this. So the conflict of a small scale can be resolved and prevented if we discuss things between us, if we listen to other person, if we open our mind and try to understand the point of view of the other person. And in this way, we really can resolve the conflicts even before they start. In household disputes, it's almost always different expectations from each side. For example, wife expects husband to bring so much money and he doesn't bring them at the end of the month. Husband expects wife to do all the house work, take care of kids, do a lot of stuff, which is practically impossible because the expectation is much greater than the time she has and the opportunities she has and the power she has. So if these people sit and discuss and say, look, you want me to do this, this, and this, but it's impossible. I need your help in this, and this. Or we divide what we do and we do the things this way. It will be much easier for them to understand each other, to see practically what they need to do in order to live calmer and better and to get the things they want to have done, to have them done. They will start better understanding each other. They will start help each other. They will decide, especially on money issues, how to plan the spendings so they will have, good result, the results they want. And this will also help to avoid the conflicts in the longer run, because if the conflict is not resolved and people like keep it inside and they collect more and more and more little things inside, at some point it will be like a volcano eruption and it will definitely end in a huge scandal, in a huge violent conflict. And this type of small conflict, which is gathered through the time, at the end brings the household violence. So we need to start and to consider household as a really important place and to discuss with our other significant half or with our parents or with our kids, which people with whom we live together, all the issues which bother us and all the problems which we have, in mind. So we either resolve existing conflicts or discuss stuff which we can discuss and agree on, so we do not create new conflicts. And it's not always easy, and maybe in not all cases it will be possible, but wherever it's possible, try to do it to avoid household conflicts, because this is place where you spend a lot of time, and if you are not good at your home, it will influence all your life. Arguments over resources, it's always, things between people in neighborhood, your neighbors, it could be different things which need to be discussed. Here it's not always easy to find the way to the conflict solution, but everything what is in your power should be turn towards discussion, understanding the other person, why they want what they want, how they see the things, and if you agree or disagree with this point of view, and how you can find a common land, I would say, in all the cases. I don't say that all conflicts could be solved, but our point is try not to create conflicts, and if they exist, try to solve them. The examples of medium scale conflicts. These happen usually in large groups, in institutions or social systems. For example, it could be land resources or land ownership. For example, people with farms and they say, this is the area which belong to us. And some other groups say, no, the border is not here, it's there. Or your animals cannot come here, or the water resource, the river which is passes, it's all ours, you cannot use it. So here, when we have such issues, it's more institutional, I would say. If you have conflicts over land or resources, this should be governed by community, larger community. When we say about conflicts which happen at work, it could be between management. For example, working overtime, being underpaid, um, bad, unfair treatment from management towards workers. Such conflicts start usually with discussions, but if the needs are not met or nothing is done, it could lead to strikes and to damages and to violence as well. So here again, we try first to solve the conflicts talking to people. People to management. If it's not helping, we go to the state institutions and report the problems which we face and we see and try to solve it in this way. For example, in European countries and in Greece where I live, we have here a lot of organizations who go on strike and sometimes even on national strike when they demand some important things like rises of salaries, better conditions of working. So people get organized and try to discuss it. State usually discusses it with people who represent the strikers and they find the solution. And it's almost always solved in a peaceful way, but generally organization try to solve it within so it doesn't go to a higher scale and larger scale. Disputes between ethnic, tribal, and religious groups within one country is a big issue because usually such disputes lead to conflict which will be almost always violent at the end. So when we have some ethnic groups which have the conflict between them, it's very important that state is um, advised about these problems and that state tries to find the solution for this. The conflicts could be small. For example, we have different minorities living in one area, and one, for example, has a religious temple to go every, for example, Christians. They go to church every Sunday. And we have Muslims, and they do not have their religion temple to go and um, to pray. So when the Muslims are asking for land to build the building for their religious temple, it's important that the state sees the needs of all people and say, okay, if this one have this, the other one need to have equal opportunity to respect their religion. The other thing, like in Greece, we have big communities from other countries, especially from India, and they have different celebrations. For example, in autumn, they have a big fest for the goddess of harvesting. I'm not really sure what exactly they celebrate, but I know that it's a woman goddess. And what they do, they make like a little parade. So here in the area where I live, they ask the topic government for a specific date and specific hours, and practically they close the road, and these people make this parade, and then they celebrate it in a traditional way. And when they did it for the first time, the Greeks who live here were really upset, like why we have this inconvenience and why we cannot pass and what are these people doing and why they are doing. And it was a little bit strange, I would say, but when this could lead to a conflict. And when topic newspaper wrote an article with the photographs and explaining that this is a holiday and this is really nice and this is a tradition of people who we live with here, and this is a great community which respects their national traditions, and this is celebration which takes place every autumn. Everybody understood. We got used. We're really happy to see people celebrating. It's really nice thing, and conflict is resolved. So understanding the others, their point of view, their traditions, their ethics, their religion needs holidays, everything which is important for others, it's really a big issue, because when you understand why people do something and what is the reason they do it, it's much easier to understand all the situation and to get uh, clear on that they have the right to do it. We need to respect them as they respect us. We need to get more educated on other people's traditions, because we have these people next to us, and we need to understand them as well. It's not totally us coming to our country and seeing how Greeks live and respecting the rules and traditions here. They also have their own. So we, as we claim we have equal rights, they have equal rights with us, and we need to respect their rights. So here, the conflict which could happen did not happen, because people got the point of view of others and they understood it, and it's okay. So when we have groups, we need to understand that because there are many, we often need to involve state institutions or information channels to explain what's going on in order to solve or to avoid any conflict. So here as well, because we have larger group of people, if this conflict is not resolved and it's already raised, this could lead to bigger problems. So it's very important to solve any conflicts which we have of medium scale, because it is really big power. And when we have communities in countries and they are of other identity, other religion, other interests, if their conflict situation is not solved, it will definitely turn to a violence. So we don't need violence. We have a lot of violence around. So we need to see and resolve conflicts before they come to the point where we cannot resolve them anymore. When we go to examples of large-scale conflicts, it's really a big problem. Usually it's huge countries problem. It's very large populations which will be involved in a large-scale conflict. So what we have here, we have wars. It could be civil war within the same country, like different political powers which influence, different religion powers which bring to violent situations, wars with invasions where other nations come to the country and try to invade them. Uh, we have also to large scale the problems when we have accidents on the borders. It's always have to do with lands, with some resources which have, one or the other party have. And the other awful thing is when we have, humanitarian crises, and we have ethnic violence everywhere. And this we can see every time where we have wars. We have seen it in many countries in African continent. We have Seen it now in Ukraine with Russian invasion. They kill Ukrainians just because they are Ukrainians. We can see it like humanitarian crises in other countries. And to this place, we can also add the situations where we have bombarding like Gaza. Yeah, humanitarian crisis, it's a large-scale conflict situation. So these things cannot be solved, by people on their own. Here we are talking about states, about top government negotiations, about top government looking for the solutions, help from other countries which could be provided in order to solve the conflict, to settle down, to cover the needs of people who are influenced with large-scale conflicts. Here we know that usually when there is a war, a big amount of population will be moving from one place to another to seek for more safe places, to find more resources so they can stay alive, be safe. And as usual, women and children are the most uh, influenced categories during large-scale conflicts because they need to move. Men usually stay at war. It's not safe, and it's really very bad situation, and it's very unfortunate that now in our time we have a lot of conflict areas where we have now in the world, and it doesn't look that we have an easy solution for it because different interests of different countries are always influence large scale conflicts, and solution here is always on the very top places. What we can do here during the large scale conflicts is we can support people who are involved there, who struggle because of the conflict. So we support women, we support children, we support young people who move from one place to another. We provide shelter, we provide any kind of help, humanitarian, medical, emotional. We provide them with things, with food, with clothing. If they get to some areas, we of course provide them with education for children. If they go to another country because they need to become refugees because they don't have any safe place in their country, then we need to support them with language learning and do our best to make them feel, first of all, safe in a new place. And after that, we need to find a way to support them as much as possible to adapt to the situation where they are. And after the conflict is over, for example, there was a war and now it's peace, it's our part which will support them if they want to return safely. If they want to stay, what we can do for them uh, to stay in the country officially with documents, with work, with access to everything. Because if people are refugees who are coming to another place and then they need to return but they don't, they become illegal immigrants, and illegal immigrants have no rights, no access, and it's even worse than being, in bad condition in your country. So here, the conflict cannot be practically resolved easy, and as a result, it's poverty, it's displacement, it's insecurity, and definitely trauma to everyone. And our target is not to get to the large scale conflicts, and it's very important to remember about it. So why actually this conflict happen? We say that it could be big, small, large, whatever, but what are the reasons? Conflict, as we said, it's a part of our life, so the reasons could be really different, and they are caused by different reasons. So some of them, some roots which could lead to the conflict are the following. I would say it's like four categories. One, it's a social reason. For example, inequity, when we have like poor and rich. top level and people with nothing. It always creates, this feeling inequity, and it always leads to the conflict. When we have exclusion, for example, you are an immigrant in a different country. For the natives, you are always second-class people. They don't accept you, they don't talk to you, they don't behave nicely always. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It leads sometimes to bullying in school for children. So this is one reason which really influences very often. Second one is cultural reasons. We could have different beliefs. We have identity clashes, like now it's really a big topic in Western world, like identity clashes, and of course misunderstandings. Sometimes people from different countries and different cultures, when they talk, each of culture has different meanings, and sometimes something which is normal for one would look strange or maybe very bad for the other one. So for us, it's really important to understand the other party clearly. And when, for example, we speak to someone and they say something which sounds strange, at least, it's important to ask them what do they mean by this. Or if they talk about something and you do not understand clearly what is it, what they are saying, don't be afraid, ask for clarification. When these people will clarify to you what they mean, what they want, what is it, if it's something you don't have idea about it, then you will be in a better position to understand their point of view, and it will, in like 50% cases, uh, will be okay. It will not lead to any conflict or misunderstanding, and cultural reason is something that with discussion and explanation can be solved in a big percentage. The next one is the political reason. Political reason, which is everywhere, it's a corruption. Corruption, I think it's existing in every country, and the poorer country, the bigger the corruption. And people can see it, and a lot of times it brings, revolutions. So corruption and corruption scandals is a big issue everywhere worldwide. Unfair leadership, it's again here when, usually, we can see it in countries where one person is the leader and there are no elections. And in this case, they just do whatever they want, and people just need to follow what they say. And this really creates a lot of conflict within our, soul, within the communities, small and bigs, and this often brings civil wars to the doors. Lack of rights, it's another big issue which starts like from your household. If your husband believes that you don't have right to go to work, this is the beginning of the conflict. If you believe that your child don't have voice and they cannot express their opinion for something you have in your household, this is the first step to a conflict. So lack of rights, it's not like general idea. We need to understand what rights do we have. This is what we discussed human rights in our previous meeting. And to respect the rights of other people. It's not easy and we are not used to, but it's a good question, to think after we complete our discussion today. What are the rights of people who are around us, and do we really respect them? And we will see that many conflicts come from this point. Very simple and everyday issue. When we talk about political reasons, when they say that girls cannot go to school and to the university, men should do this, this, and this, women are not allowed this, this, and this, and you know that you have the right, but for political reasons you cannot use this right. Of course, it creates conflict within your soul, within the group which lacks of these rights at that point, and further it will bring, the tension in the society and could lead to really big issues. And the last one, and very important one, it's economic reasons. When we have high unemployment, People live in poverty. Uh, People don't have a lot of opportunities generally. There are some restriction in resources, and there is fear in society. This always brings conflicts because people say, okay, we don't have money. How do we live? So what we will do, we will steal, we will kill. It will create a lot of big conflict situations. So economic reasons are really a big issue in any time. So what do we do with this? First of all, we need to understand that conflict could be created for different reasons, and depending on what was the reason, we can find a better solution, more right solution, I would say, or at least to understand how we could solve this issue and start moving towards that direction. In order to solve the conflict, we need to understand, how this happened. And when we say good leaders do not react in anger, they observe, listen, analyze, and understand. Good leaders is everyone. It's you, it's me, it's your mom, it's your husband. Everyone is leader in their small community. When you have like two people, husband and wife, each of them, it's again leader of the household. We need to understand that each of us, we are leaders of our life, of our family, of our community, of our household. So when we get in a conflict situation, and every one of us we get in a conflict situation at some point, we need, to stop and not to get angry immediately. Because if you think a little bit like when somebody says to you something you don't like, anger is the first thing which you feel. You are like, what? What? This is what I was saying, and you are not blah blah blah. And you realize that you are getting ready for a conflict immediately. But if you take a moment and you think, okay, I want this, and the other person says this, why they say this? Maybe, yeah, I need to listen to this person to understand why they say this. Like you want to go out and your husband doesn't, and you are upset because you get ready, you are like every Wednesday or every Saturday we go out, and why we don't go out today? But maybe he is not feeling well, maybe he doesn't have money to take you out today because he didn't get paid and he was shy to tell you about this. Maybe he has a different obligation today because something happened during the day and you are not aware yet. So if you listen to person and understand what's going on, then you will understand how to react to it. Do you still get anger, and feel anger, or you are not angry anymore and you understand and you say, okay, honey, we don't go today, even if I was getting ready, because I understand the situation. Let's do it next time. So what we need to do, how do we analyze the conflict? First of all, we look what's happening, what's the problem. Then we try to understand why is it happening, what's causing this problem. Then we see who is affected. Is it only me? Is it bigger amount of people? Is it someone else but it influences what's going on with us? What power dynamics exist? What do we mean? We have this situation. What's going on generally? For example, you were going to go out, but his mother is in the hospital. You didn't know about this. So you say, what's happening? My mom is in the hospital. And what happened? Why she's in the hospital? She fell down and broke her leg. Okay. Who is affected? His mom, he, and you, because you are with him, so you will need to take care of his mom at some point as well. What are the dynamics here? Well, broken leg will take a month. So for sure, for a month, we have a different program in our family. And what is solution? Well, we take care of the lady, we take her to the hospital, we see what's going on, they take care of her leg, we bring her home, and then for a month we know that we need to take care of the person. So we always look at the situation from all these point of views, and we understand, what's going on and how do we solve it, or what do we need to do about this possible conflict, for example. And always we look at this like with wisdom, at least with rationality, and we say, okay, let's understand, let's analyze what's going on around. Then, if there are some issues which can take empathy, of course, with empathy, and based on this, we have a decision-making situation, and we say, okay, for example, with the broken leg, what do we do with mom? Is there somebody else in her house who will take care of her? No, she is alone. So we bring her here and we take care of her for this period of time which she needs. So this is a better decision making. We um, look at the situation, we decide what we do and do the best what we can do in this situation. So conflict really need, analyzing skills, because this will reduce the tension and will bring best result in a problem solving point of view, looking at the conflict, right? And what are the resolution for big scale and middle scale conflict techniques? So if we are talking about big problems and big conflicts, you cannot just discuss it between me and you or between family members. You need something bigger. As we said, conflicts between communities or between countries is really big scale things. So here we have different options. First is negotiation. It's when two parties come together and discuss the situation, like what we do here, what we do here, and if we can come to a general decision which will satisfy both of our sides. What could happen here? It could be like husband and wife, child and parents, two friends, kids in school, uh, your colleagues at work. Yeah, you get together, you discuss, you find a solution. This could be also applying to bigger communities. The next one, which is mediation, is usually like a bigger scale, because here we know that even if two parties will get together, they will not get to a specific result. So we need a neutral person who will come and talk to both sides and find a solution. If we talk about small scale conflicts, this could be a teacher at school which has to resolve the conflict between two kids. If we talk about community or family, we have elder people who are elder advisor, and they can come and discuss the situation and find solution or suggest a solution based on their wisdom. We could have a community leader, which is applicable for community, even for countries who come, like now peace process between Russia and Ukraine. We have President of United States and his team who are trying to be mediators and to find a solution how to end the conflict. And of course, there are trained mediators. This happens, for example, in divorces, yeah, when they have people, or in business situation, who are trained mediators. They come, they discuss with both sides, suggest the solution, and find the solution. Another good techniques, it's dialogue. Dialogue can be applicable to everyone and everywhere. And practically, we have here a respectful conversation. Which includes seeing the points of views of everyone, understanding the situation of everyone. And dialogue comes to reduce this feeling of tension, to rebuild the trust, to reduce the fear, to create the understanding. It's very important, especially for couples and for household with or without children, because this small community, which is our homes, our families, uh, they are the first place where we have people who creates, community, country, and the world. And if we learn to have a dialogue between us and being able to understand the point of view of other person, to find a solution, then we go to our communities to work and behave in a different way. We also have dialogue with our colleagues. We have dialogue with our government. We can create much safer environment everywhere, at home, at work, in small community and in nationwide. So dialogue is some skill, I would say, which everyone need to learn. And if you are adult, like train to see how you can have a dialogue with people around you, so you can make, the world less violent place, because dialogue definitely helps tremendously to avoid violence. Uh, and the fourth one is restorative practices. Here we have like, sorry, yeah. Here we have the situation when we, let's say, punish someone, I would say ban someone from something, uh, but in a not harmful way. For example, we say to someone, I want you to do this, this, and this. But if you don't do it, uh, we will need to do a different thing. For example, it's always working with kids. You say to them, you have a homework and you need to do it by 4 o'clock. If you finish it by 4 o'clock, we can go for a walk. But if you don't finish it, uh, it will be late and we will not be able to go for a walk. So practically you don't punish it, you put the restriction, you explain them what's going on. And if they are done by them, that's okay. You go this way. If they are not done by them, then you go that way. And there will be no conflict, because if you don't explain it beforehand, or you don't give this, the frame, then if the child haven't finished their walk on time, and then they demand to go for a walk and it's dark outside, you don't go, there will be conflict. They will be demanding to go. They will be shouting, crying, whatever. But if you have these options and they know from the beginning that I have this way and this way, you definitely avoid conflict. And this practice could be, applied in different levels, and it really helps. So practically these techniques, these skills, I would say, they help to avoid conflicts or resolve conflicts on different levels. And if we think about negotiation and dialogue, they definitely improve very much relationship with within the family, improve workspace relationships. They avoid escalations on a daily basis in our everyday life, in our communities, and in our countries, I would say. So what we can do to manage well and to prevent our conflicts? If the conflict is managed well, it will definitely have ending wars. It will have help with lead peace negotiations. It will help rebuild communities, because they will understand, the groups of people will understand each other better, will find solutions better. And it will also help to educate our children for our better future. We always need to remember that kids are next adults, let's say in 15, 10, and 20 years from now. It's a new community which we will live with and in. So how we educate our kids today and what do we teach them today is practically our future in the next, 10, 15 years. If we educate children how to solve the conflict, how to respect other people, how to behave between them, they will grow with this identity, with this way of behavior, and our future will be much better. And they will educate their children to behave the same way, so their future will be better as well. And this is especially important for girls and women, because the girl is a future mother and she will spend a lot of time with kids, and she will be an example of behavior and resolution of conflict, and everything that child will learn. Because that's true that mothers spend much more time with kids than fathers, and sometimes fathers do not participate in growing child at all. So we need to educate our children to solve the problems from very little age. And this will help tremendously the future generation and our future. So what do we do to prevent violence? Because as we said, violence is something that happens if the conflict is not resolved. And we need to, as I said, raise children in respect and understanding. We need to understand that rights for men and women are equal. We are equal in our rights, in our values, and we should be equal in our opportunities. We need to encourage communication between people, empathy and listening and understanding. We need to try to address conflicts as early as possible, and if possible, not to have conflict at all, which is not always possible, but try to reduce as much as possible. And of course, we need to stay for our rights with dignity and not silence and not violence. If you disagree with something, say about it. Like, I think you are not right because this, and this. I have the right to do this and I would like to do it. Uh, and if you discuss it and you don't keep it within yourself, in majority of cases, you will get what you want. At least you will know that you tried this, and for the next time you will know how to behave or what to say if you don't get the result from the first time. So my final message is that conflict is normal part of the life. We see it every day, everywhere. It's up to us how do we react to this conflict and how do we act towards the others. Violence is not normal, and we need to do everything in our hand not to be violent and to avoid violence in any way. And as women, me and ladies from this wonderful organization, as leaders, as mothers, as teachers, entrepreneurs, activists, and many, many other things which we do as women, we need to empower and guide our families, our communities, and our nations toward peace and not having conflicts. And when we learn to analyze our conflict situation and apply peaceful solutions, as we said earlier, it will not only transform the situations around us, but we will definitely transform our future. So learn how to work with conflict, how to embrace and live with it, but in a peaceful way. And I believe that knowledge from today's delivery will help you to see the conflict from a different point of view and to be able to resolve or to avoid conflicts in your life, in your community, and try to help the situations if you see the conflicts from other people and help them to solve the conflict and find peaceful solutions. Thank you very much, and I'm ready for the questions.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna, for sharing your insights, your experience and wisdom with us today. And like your dedication to supporting families and building bridges of understanding is truly inspiring for all of us. Your words have not just given us the knowledge, but also hope. And like it's a reminder that like strength that empathy, patience, and human connection can bring in times of conflict and uncertainty. So we are very, very happy to have you with us. And now we are going to move to the question and answer part. And for the participants, if you have any questions, please write them down in the chat box. And if you are comfortable, then you can raise your hand and I will take your name and then you can unmute and ask your question. For now, we have a few questions that were asked by the participants during the session. And the first one is from Pi, if I'm not wrong. And she's asking that are there some conflicts, especially at family levels, that can be resolved by silence?
Well, silence is not resolving anything. Silence is, let's say, keeping maybe phenomenal peaceful situation, but the person who is influenced by the conflict and didn't get the solution will collect inside every time when the solution is not giving, the fear, the pity, the feeling of not being understood, of all the negative feelings, which over the time will lead to different psychological issues. Like the person will time by time, with time, become feeling, will start feeling not worthy, maybe, if I can say, of lower quality, because if someone says to them, you are doing it wrong, you are doing it wrong, it's not this way, you should not do this, the person creates, the feeling that yes, he is not good or she is not good, they are not allowed to do this, they will not do this, and when they grow, if it's a child, they will become very closed inside person, and will not be looking for opportunity, will not value themselves high, will not think that they are worthy or can have a better future, for example. So it depends with whom you talk and why you are silent, but uh, normally, if there is a possibility to discuss with the other person, it's better to discuss. If you see that it will lead to a violent situation, of course, maybe in this case it will be better to be silent. But generally, silence as a method of solving conflict is not a method for solving conflict. Conflict, it's two different opinions, so you need to get clear on them. If possible to discuss and find a solution.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that very wise advice to our participant. And then we have another question that is asked by Miguela, if I'm not wrong. And she's asking that at the very beginning of this conversation, you said that conflict is never always negative. So, kindly help with the real life situation in a larger scale conflict.
A larger scale conflict, which could be not negative. Okay, you have two communities uh, who has a conflict over specific part of land because they want to use it for different reason. For example, you have, let's say, Athens. In Athens, they have a big international airport within city line. And during the Olympic game in 2004, they moved it outside and they built a huge one, new one. And we had this huge area from old airport within city line. It was on the seaside in a quite expensive area. And for almost 10 years, we could not decide what we're gonna do with this land because some people were saying, let's do a national park. Some other were suggesting to build their mall, casino, and some other things. And it was a big conflict, Greek society was discussing it because it's not only the expensive part of land which they were going to do something, but it's also a lot of money and a lot of interest from different, people with power and money. So they brought this question to the vote, and people voted what they would like. We had several options, and they voted what they would like it finally to be. And after they decided what they're gonna do, then we went for a tender. There were companies who won the tender, and they started building there. So practically, they did a huge park, they did their mall, they did their hotel, and now it's building. But the solution here was a vote. So we didn't come to, a violent conflict. It was a big conflict in minds of people because it's also a big residential area there and a lot of small stores. And if they build a mall, then these small stores would lose their work because people would go to mall, and they were against. But because Athens is the capital of Greece and it's a big area which was, not used. It could be used for city income, city needed to get the results. So after 10 years of discussions, they went and listened to all the parties who wanted what and analyzed what is good for people, what is good for city, and what is good for country, and what investments would come with this. They went to the vote, they decided what they will do, people voted, and they started acting. So this is not negative. This is a good solution, with vote and discussion and understanding of all sides. I hope this helps. If we say about middle side, middle size solution. If we talk about small size solution, for example, we have a project in a university and we are creators like architects and we have different ideas and you have you and your body who need to make a project and you say, okay, I would like to do something about environment, and the other one says, I am interested in villages. So they discuss what they can do and they decide that we will go to some areas like mountain villages, which are not uh, habitant now because people left villages and went to big cities, and we will make a project how to bring life to these villages again, how we can use the mountains for people who go, for hiking and all infrastructure for this, how we can use them for little shops which we can create here because they have like olives there, so they can provide, goods made of olives, and people would come here to support this little infrastructure and doing stuff for tourists, and this can bring life back to this area. So they do a project with a discussion without, coming to conflict. One wants this and the other one wants different thing. They find a common solution and they work on this solution and they provide the final project like when they have a deadline. So it's important that they discuss, people discuss what's the issues, what are the options, look at points of view and find a final solution which is accepted by both sides. I hope this helps.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And there's another question that what is the role of communication in conflict management? And can you recommend some communication skills that can help us resolve conflicts?
It depends on the size of the conflict. Communication skill, which I could recommend. Uh, Communication skill. Learn listening. Always listen to other party and not just listen to answer, listen to understand. Because this is something that we lack now. Majority of people, we listen to something and we run to say our point of view on this without understanding what are the point of view of other people and how they see it, what they say or what they discuss. So listening is very important because it brings understanding. And when you listen to other people and it's not always clear to you what they mean or what they want, learn to ask more questions. What do you mean by this? How do you see this? What do you think is the solution to what you say you need? So try to understand other side as much as possible. So in this way, you will have a clear picture of what they mean and what they have in their mind. Because it's very common when we speak about something, we have in mind completely different idea or picture of the thing. For example, if I say money, yeah, I can mean by saying money like money in my wallet, like 100 euros and some change. When you think about money, you would say it's my monthly salary. Somebody else would say, money, like I want to be a millionaire. So the meaning of the word is common and has a lot of understanding, meanings for other. Like everyone know what is money, but everyone has his own understanding what money for him or for her. So when there is a discussion, for example, about money, yeah, of course it will be a context around what you discuss, but still I can understand one thing and you can understand a different one. And we can have a conflict on something because we have different understanding of the situation or of the subject about which we talk. So it's very important that you listen to others, understand them very well, and based on that, think about the solution. And you can always ask them, what do you want? What is the final result you want? And see if what they want, is good for you or not, if you agree or disagree, and build your discussion based on the final result, which other party is expecting from you. Of course, it depends on the situation, because if I would have a context, we could, see the real result. But the best thing, in communication skill is listening and understanding the others. And then based on this, providing what you want to say or what you suggest to do. This will bring, like 50% of the result of the whole discussion.
Absolutely, that was all correct. And also, there's another like point that maybe communication won't be that much helpful in the larger scale conflicts, and there are other approaches that anyone can use. Because when it's like in a lower scale, communication can play a huge role in resolving that problem or conflict. But in other cases, we need to look for other approaches that would be like best fits in that particular conflict. So I hope that it answers the question of the participant. And I would only ask one last question and then we would move to the closing of the session. And that is that what like practical advice would you give to the young leaders who want to support the conflict affected communities?
Good question. We need to understand what is the conflict affected communities mean. As we said, in order to answer properly, we need to understand what we are talking about. If we are talking about middle-sized conflicts, then young leaders need to understand why the conflict happened, what are the needs of each of parties, and what solutions they are looking for, so they can find, let's say, a middle solution for satisfying one and the other one of the sides. Or at least getting closer to the result, which one of these sides can expect. If we are talking about large scale conflicts, here there are not many options, because when we are talking about wars, it's just majority of them, it's a political issue, because politics need to agree on something, so the rest of the parties will follow the general agreement. So here, not much to be done. Like large scale, it's just political decision. They agree, the rest is follows. Middle size, like communities, dialogue, understanding of what's going on. If needed, taking, higher institutions like state institutions. If we talk about like big cities, fighting between them, then we need state police to come and get in between and to get everything settled down. Smaller communities have some differences for any reason. Leaders of this community can come and be, problem solvers for the conflict which exists. School, you have kids bullying some other kid. You have teachers and deans who can influence the situation and find the solution. Uh, Family, you have elders who can play the role, of mediator and find the solution. So it always depends what is the conflict and who are the higher in hierarchy person or institution who could help to settle down the conflict.
Absolutely, you have answered the question Very well, and I hope that it is helpful for all of our participants as well. And now we are not going to take any more questions because we are already short on time and we cannot take much of your time because you have already shared so much insights with us. And I hope that it all will help our participants. So thank you so much, Ms. Anna, for being here, for giving us your time and energy. And you've always been available for Women Ascension, and we are very, very glad to have you with us. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and thank you everyone for coming today and being part of this session. I hope this information will help everyone to live better life, be a better leader, and improve life in their communities and hopefully even in their countries in future, and grow better children, whoever is parent and have kids. Learn them to be a conflict solver and good conflict, you know, and understand the conflict well so they can uh, find the solutions easier or avoid conflict in general. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and we are very happy to have you. And especially knowing that the work that you are doing in your communities, in your surroundings, is a selfless work for the families who are already suffering. So it's always very good to have someone to share their insights, their knowledge with participants. That is not just words, but that is an emotion, that is something which is going to change our life as well. So thank you so much, and thanks to all our participants who are here, who are part of this conversation, and like those who are very eager to learn something. So I hope that you all are going with some insights about this particular topic in your mind. And hopefully we will have our speaker with us again in any another topic at another time. And I hope that you all will join us again today, another day. Thank you so much. And let's continue empowering one another, working toward communities grounded in empathy, dignity, and peace. Um, this marks the end of today's mentorship session. So stay inspired, stay connected, and continue leading with purpose. Thank you so much, everyone, on behalf of Women Ascension. And we also have another session after like 1 hour. So please be part of that conversation as well, because that is going to be helpful for you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.